throughout the globe, believe it or not. But the first shot fired was fired by Tea Party people in April of last year, and June, and September. And for those of you who stood outside, for those of you who made your homemade signs, for those of you whose cause is trying to restore freedom to America and to regain control of the government, I applaud you. So thank you very much for what you've done to help restore sanity in America. Because without your involvement, last year, we'd have been looking at a completely different landscape in America today. We would have had a hideously run, public option-based healthcare system crammed down our throats, probably cap and trade, which is probably one of the largest tax increases that we would have, that the country has ever known, as on top of a failed $787 billion stimulus plan. And the president tells us that he hasn't raised any taxes and has no intention of doing so. Somehow it seems a little disingenuous to me. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a career citizen. I am not a career politician. I have not run for public office before in my life. I come to this conclusion from patriotic commitment. I am an Academy graduate. I graduated from the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy back in 1977. I entered the U.S. Navy. I became a Navy pilot. I've made multiple deployments during the Cold War, during the Reagan years, out to the Western Pacific, defending my country. I had an opportunity to come back to Washington. I worked in the Pentagon with the organization of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, as well as the Chief of Naval Operations Staff. I actually lived in Capitol Hill with my wife for 30 years here, Rebecca, who's in the front row. We raised 3 children. Washington is a strange place. The Beltway, you've heard that term inside the Beltway, that little 10-mile radius around the U.S. Capitol. It's a wonderful place to live. Lots of entertainment, lots of things going on, lots of bars and restaurants and social events and things like that. But what happens is our elected officials from both parties go down there and they catch Potomac fever. It's a place where after a while they stop reading the front page of the Washington Post and they start reading the social pages of the Washington Post. Who got to sit close to the president? Who got invited to the Kennedy Center? Did somebody go to a steak dinner? Who's next in line for that chairmanship? And you listen to this, and you recognize that none of this resonates with people back home. It's been my fortune over the years to do a lot of business in and out of Washington over the years. And so when I go to Washington, I turn on the radio, I listen to all this stuff. It's really highbrow entertainment and very, very thoughtful and thought-provoking, but it has nothing to do with the main streets that you live on. It has everything to do with the power structure in Washington. And there are 3 types of people in Washington today. A lot of Democrats, as you well know. Far fewer Republicans, and a whole bunch of incumbents. And the incumbents have become the biggest special interest in Washington. And I took an oath of office, I've taken it twice, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I took it once as a midshipman, I took it again as an ensign in the U.S. Navy. And that commitment, that oath, has no statute of limitations, none whatsoever. And so I've had a wonderful life. I've been involved in big business, sales, marketing, operations. I've had my own small business. I've been involved with communities and churches wherever I've lived. I'm still the Scoutmaster of Boy Scout Troop No. 1 in Hopedale because those things are very important to me. But I'm willing to put it all on the line because I believe it is my patriotic duty to step forward now and say, I can do this. I can get this job done. I can bring back faith in government. Look, what's going to happen in November is probably the harbinger of what's going to happen in November happened a few weeks ago with Scott Brown. There's going to be an insurrection come revolution in Washington. And 30, 40, 50 or more people are going to go to Washington who are just like me. People who are concerned about our country, people who want to restore American values to the country, people who want to stop the slide towards a statist-oriented country, people who want to recapture the American dream for their children, and for the rest of this century to make the 21st century an American century. And those people who come to Washington are going to have different perspectives. They're going to come from different sides of the aisle, and they're going to be looking for leadership. And I'm prepared to go to Washington, irrespective of party, and bring conservative values and leadership to that group of people to change the course of this country, because I think the people of this country are starting to wake up. It's taken us generations to slide to where we are, and it may take us generations to go back in the other direction, but we've got to begin that journey now. So look, I thank you for your time. I ask you for your support. I'm not asking for the endorsement of any Tea Party, but I'm asking you for your personal endorsement and your personal vote to support me in this campaign. And I've got a table set up right back there, and I can tell you how you can help. I can ask you to sign up with your email so we can reach out to you, and I can tell you what's going on with this great campaign. We are catching fire. This district, the 2nd Congressional District, voted 57% in favor of Scott Brown, and that includes a disastrous outing in Springfield and a disastrous outing in Northampton. We can overcome it. I take no vote for granted. I understand that the Scott Brown election was a special kind of election, but I do believe that we can capture that lightning in a bottle because people who speak the truth, people who are sincere and of high integrity, and who are willing to work hard can represent you in Washington far better than any incumbent who's been sitting there in unopposed 7 out of 11 elections. So I ask you for your support. I thank you, Paul, for allowing me to come and speak to you today, and God bless America.